In the daylight, she is your neighbor. She smiles, she works, she greets you by name like anyone else. But after midnight, her head lifts from her shoulders, her organs trailing beneath, and drifts out into the dark to feed. This is the Ma Lai, a folk belief about the monster that might be hiding in plain sight. The Ma Lai is not one story with a single ending. It is a folk belief, a warning passed between neighbors, told 100 ways. By day, the belief goes, she seems entirely ordinary, an unremarkable village woman you would never look at twice. But when the village sleeps, something changes. Her head detaches from her sleeping body, and her entrails hang below it like pale roots. The floating head drifts through the night on the hunt drawn, the stories say, to filth, to waste, to blood. Wherever it feeds, it leaves sickness and misfortune behind. And by morning, no one can say why. The household fell ill. But the Ma Lai has one weakness. Before dawn, the head must return and rejoin its body, or it cannot survive the coming day. And so the oldest countermeasure is cruelly simple. Find the sleeping body, move it or block the neck, and the head has nowhere to return. Strip away the gore, and the Ma Lai is a story about a very human fear that the people closest to us may not be what they seem. The horror isn't a distant monster in the forest, it's that the monster sleeps in your village, eats beside you, and wears a face you trust. That's why the belief lingers on the ordinary daytime woman. The dread lives in the gap between the neighbor you know and the thing that wakes when no one is watching. It also speaks to how communities explain the unexplained. When sickness struck without reason, the Ma Lai gave a shape to the fear, a name for misfortune that arrives in the night. But there's a shadow side worth naming. A belief that a hidden monster wears an ordinary face can turn suspicion on real people, the outsider, the different, the one who lives alone. And that may be the deepest lesson. The Ma Lai warns us to fear the monster in the dark, but history warns us to be careful who we decide the monster is. This is important. The Ma Lai is not a generic mainstream Vietnamese ghost. It belongs above all to specific ethnic minority communities. It's told, especially among the Tày and Nùng peoples of Vietnam's northern mountains, and among communities of the Central Highlands, where the belief is woven into local ideas of illness and misfortune. And the Ma Lai is not Vietnam's alone. Its cousins float through the folklore of much of Southeast Asia. The detaching head spirit is a shared regional nightmare with many names across many borders. So the right way to meet this creature is with respect. Not as a cheap monster, but as a living piece of regional folk belief that still carries real cultural weight. The Ma Lai endures because it names something we all half feel, that the familiar can turn strange, and the face we trust can hide a hunger we never see. Which leaves us with a quiet, uneasy question. What frightens you more, the monster in the dark, or the thought that it might be someone you already know? Tell us in the comments. And if this story stayed with you, subscribe to Viet Folktales, where we bring the old wisdom of Vietnam back to life, one tale at a time.